Yeah, I'll react to that, sure. Okay, guys. Or original link to the video, top the description right below that link to the Discord. Click on it, send it right over there. Love to have you. I hope you're ready to learn. Let's go. If you are not ready to learn, sit in the back of the class. Or just, stay where you are. Let's go.
The latest from the Armchair Historian. Follow us on Twitter. Link below.
This came out an hour ago, so obviously I'm not uploading it today, but tomorrow or the next day. What is today? Friday. I love his background. How is your green screen so good?
Hi.
Sorry. Okay. I paused. Jesus. I'll sit on my hands.
Hi, I'm Griffin Johnson,
Hey.
the Armchair Historian. In our last D-Day from the Bird's Eye Perspective video, we flew across the American sectors to watch the events of the day unfold from a top-down perspective. However, it would be wrong to assume that the ultimate success of the landings at Utah and Omaha Beach was achieved in isolation. In reality, the fate of the American sectors depended in large part on the fortunes of the British and Canadian landings taking place further east. Today, we'll be cruising at altitude across the British landing sites, from the daring assault on Pegasus Bridge and the breakthrough at Gold Beach to the last-ditch drive for Cannes. Did you know that Allied codebreakers monitored and decrypted German Enigma traffic during the D-Day landings to see what was being said about the invasion and if there were any threats to the Allied fleet at sea? Thanks to the sponsor of today's video, NordVPN, users can expect the kind of data protection that puts the Enigma machine to shame. Visit nordvpn.com/historyvpn and find out how Nord can help protect your online activities using military-grade encryption on up to 6 devices at once for every major platform, including Linux and Android TV. NordVPN helps our team access historical information and region-locked documentaries by routing connections through more than 5,400 servers in 60 countries.
Make sure to
While
use
features like
their
threat
link,
protection
guys.
keep our researchers safe from malware, intrusive ads, web trackers, and dodgy websites.
Any video I
making it
watch
more
that
than
has
just
an
a
ad,
VPN, but a powerful
please use their promo
cybersecurity
code.
tool. Try NordVPN today with a risk-free 30-day money-back guarantee and get a 2-year plan and an extra gift for free by signing up using our link in the description below or by visiting nordvpn.com/historyvpn.
I'm so jealous of his background. I want that so bad. Okay. Let's go.
It's just past midnight on June 6, 1944, as a group of gliders descend toward the Norman countryside. Inside are paratroopers of the British 6th Airborne Division. They have been tasked with securing 2 bridges over the Caen Canal and the River Orne on the far east flank of the scheduled Allied landings in Normandy. Within 15 minutes, the assault teams managed to completely overwhelm the small German garrisons guarding the bridges, and dig in as they await the arrival of the rest of the division. The bulk of the 6th Airborne was set to land just east of the River Orne, where they were to destroy 5 bridges over the River Dive and silence the Merville gun battery overlooking Sword Beach. However, in a near replay of the American drop, poor visibility and navigational errors caused the paratroopers to be scattered all across the Norman countryside. Fortunately, the area of operations lacked the thick bocage that would come to haunt the Americans, making it far easier for the paratroopers to swiftly link up in large groups. To the east, designated units set out to destroy the bridges over the Dive River, while a small group of 160 paras out of a planned 600 proceed to assault the...
Sorry, I had to ask before. I wonder how much damage a parachute can take before it just you're gonna die by falling. Because if it's not that much, then you'd think it'd be a target for the anti-air guns, but if it might be a waste of ammo.
Designated
to
unit 160 paras out of a paras
right,
over
right.
the Dive River, while a small group of 160 paras out of a planned 600 proceed to assault the heavily defended Merville Battery to the north. The fierceness of the following battle depletes nearly half of the assault team's strength, but by 5:30 a.m., the battery is under British control.
The Germans, however, would recapture the battery some hours later after Otway's men had left and actually managed to recover the damaged guns. In fact, the Merville Battery would not finally be taken until 17th.
Opening the way for the invasion force anchored offshore to begin making its approach. Stretching about 8 kilometers from the seaside town of Ouistreham to Saint-Aubin-sur-Mer, this beach was to be the eastern flank of Operation Overlord. Sword's significance lay in its proximity to the city of Caen, which was a major road hub located just 12 kilometers from the beach. The British 3rd Infantry Division had been ordered to lead the assault on Sword Beach, and if possible, liberate Caen before the end of the day. Secondary objectives were awarded to the elite units of the 1st Special Service Brigade, whose men were ordered to link up with the Canadians landing on Juno Beach just off to the west, as well as relieve the embattled paratroopers of the 6th Airborne Division to the southeast. Opposing the British invasion force was the German 716th Static Infantry Division. As a first line of defense, its men had littered the beach with minefields and obstacles of all kinds. Beyond that, the Brits would have to brave a series of resistance nests which stretched from the coastline all the way to Caen. The most notable amongst these were 2 formidable inland strongpoints, codenamed Morris and Hillman. These veritable fortresses were armed with heavy artillery, anti-tank weaponry, and machine gun emplacements, and were perfectly positioned to block an advance on Caen. However, the Germans' real ace in the hole came in the form of the 21st Panzer Division. Stationed near Caen, their presence in the area presented the defenders' best chance of forcing the British troops back into the Channel. As such, it was imperative for the success of the entire invasion that the 3rd Infantry Division get off the beach as quickly as possible. The citizens of Caen are still recovering from the impact of the preliminary bombardment. When the first wave of landing
Dang it. Just 1 second.
It was imperative for the success of the entire invasion that the 3rd Infantry Division get off the beach as quickly as possible. The citizens of Caen are still recovering from the impact of the preliminary bombardment. When the first wave of landing craft and amphibious duplex drive, or DD tanks, set off toward the shoreline. With most of the German resistance nests still intact, the vanguard of the 3rd Infantry Division face strong initial opposition. Several landing craft and vehicles are hit upon landing as the infantry struggle to reach the beach exits.
See, if you're a gunner, obviously it's a lot to think about, but would you want to shoot at these so that water gets in and then you sink the tank before it gets in? Or
shoreline. With most of the German resistance nests still intact, the vanguard of the 3rd Infantry Division face strong initial opposition. Several landing craft and vehicles are hit upon landing as the infantry struggle to reach the beach exits. In the Roger sector on the easternmost flank, French and British commandos find themselves caught in a bitter struggle around the heavily fortified casino in the town of Ouistreham. Further west, the 4th Special Service Brigade, tasked with linking up with the Canadians at Juno Beach, find themselves similarly pinned down by heavy enemy fire coming from the Cod strongpoint in the town of Lyon-sur-Mer. Fortunately for the brigade, the belated arrival of the sluggish DD tanks and other armored vehicles quickly changes the tide of battle. Sword, however, is still under fire from German positions on the Perrier Ridge just south of Hermonville, as overwhelmed engineer teams frantically try to clear lanes off the increasingly congested beach. Hours pass, but luckily for the British, the expected German counterattack fails to materialize. To the south, the frustrated men of the 21st Panzer Division idle uselessly as they await explicit orders from the Führer to attack the beachhead. The Führer, however, is still soundly asleep as the bulk of the invasion force finally begins moving off the beach. On the eastern flank, the men of the No. 4 Commando Unit have...
I know the answer is gonna be, well, then he'll have you killed or something, but why wouldn't you wake him up? What? How dare you wake me up? Execute this guy. But he was just trying to warn. How?
managed to clear out Weiss.
I don't think that's the first time I heard that.
On the eastern, invasion force finally begins moving off the beach. On the eastern flank, the men of the No. 4 Commando Unit have managed to clear out Weistrom, while just to the south, the 1st Special Service Brigade are the first to make contact with the beleaguered paratroopers at the Caen Canal and River Orne bridges. However, in the center, the advance off the beach is quickly reduced to a crawl at the strongpoints Morris and Hillman. The former falls after about an hour of heavy fighting, but the latter's defenses prove far more formidable than anticipated. Fighting at Hillman continues well into the evening, obstructing any further advances in that area. To make matters worse, at 4 o'clock, the 21st Panzer Division finally arrive on the front line to begin their counterattack. Its tanks strike right in between the British and Canadian lines, but the timely appearance of Allied armor causes heavy casualties on the charging panzers. Despite these losses, the Germans press the attack, and at 7 o'clock, some surviving elements manage to reach the coast. These depleted units, however, lack the strength to exploit their breakthrough and are subsequently ordered to withdraw. Having braved the German counterattack, the 3rd Infantry Division attempt a final dash for Caen. Marching down the Hermanville-Caen road on foot, its men reach as far as Beeville-Beauville, a mere 7 kilometers from the Caen's city center. However, a lack of sufficient armor support and coordination with the neighboring Canadians forces the infantry to pull back as the day draws to a close. Positioned right in the middle of the Normandy invasion, the Gold Beach sector stretched from Port-en-Besson to the west to Vers-sur-Mer, some 16 kilometers to the east. High cliffs on its western end separated Gold from the neighboring Americans at Omaha Beach, and forced the British to land on a flat stretch of ground between La Hamel and La Rivière. The experienced British 50th Infantry Division had been entrusted to link up with both the American and Canadian beachheads, sever the road and railway to Caen, and capture the city of Bayeux, some 13 kilometers inland. Opposing the 50th Division would be elements of both the German 716th and 352nd Infantry Divisions, including a mobile response unit in the form of Kampfgruppe Meyer. 11 resistance nests, as well as 2 partially completed coastal gun batteries, augmented the defense further, though few were made out of the near indestructible concrete that characterized the Omaha sector. At 5:30 a.m., the head-pounding roar from Bombarding Force K signals the start of the preliminary naval bombardment. Crucially, 3 of the 4 guns of the Longue-sur-Mer coastal gun battery are knocked out by direct hits. The first wave, following in the bombardment's wake, however, quickly finds out that the powerful strongpoints at La Hamel and La Rivière are still very much intact. Within short succession, several tanks and other vehicles are knocked out, as the infantry scurry behind the seawall. Fortunately, a specialized flail tank is quick to react and manages to silence the deadly 88mm gun at La Rivière before it has a chance to do more damage. Further to the west, in the Jig sector, elements of the 1st Hampshires managed to neutralize the more weakly defended position at the village of Anel before circling inland to attack the strongpoints at Le Hamel from the rear. Meanwhile, in the King sector, infantry of the 5th East Yorkshires begin to systematically clear out the fortified houses at La Rivière along the shore, while flail tanks try to clear out lanes for the invasion force to move inland. With the immediate landing zone coming under Allied control, men of the 1st Battalion Hampshire Regiment manage to seize Arromanches, while the 47th Royal Marine Commando march on Port-en-Besson to link up with the neighboring Americans. Back at King, the 6th Green Howards, with armor from the Dragoon Guard,
Sergeant Major Stanley received the only Victoria Cross awarded on D-Day for single-handedly taking out 2 pillboxes at the Montfleury battery.
Clear a lane of the beach and move to assault the batteries at Montfleury and Vers-sur-Mer. Joined by the 5th East Yorkshire, they continued to advance down the road before clashing with Kampfgruppe Meyer near the town of Brazenville. Luckily for the British, the battle group was caught by surprise and virtually annihilated during the following engagement. With most of the immediate German resistance neutralized or subdued, the British vanguard managed to link up with the Canadians, but lacked the strength to make the final push to Bayeux before nightfall. By midnight on June 6th, the British invasion force had succeeded in achieving about half of its objectives. At Sword, close to 29,000 men had come ashore at the cost of around 1,000 casualties. The 6th Airborne, on its part, had secured a beachhead on the eastern bank of the Orne, while blocking the way for the Germans to reinforce the defense of the beach. Crucially, though, the British had not been able to capture Caen on the first day. A failure that would prove extremely costly for the Allies, as it allowed the Germans time to reinforce their line with several elite panzer divisions. The Norman city would not finally be liberated until July 19th. At Gold Beach, around 24,500 men occupied the largest Allied beachhead of the entire invasion. At the relatively merciful cost of 400 casualties, the 50th Infantry Division had shattered the German defensive positions opposing them, and connected its front with the Canadians at Juno Beach. Although the Brits had failed to contact the Americans and capture Bayeux, they stood poised to liberate the weakly defended city on the following day. If British casualties on D-Day were less grievous than Allied planners had anticipated, their Canadian comrades were to be less fortunate. In our next and final D-Day from the Bird's Eye Perspective video, we'll take a closer look at the landings on Juno Beach, also known as the Canadian Omaha.
Good video, really good video. Interesting. I think I made a stupid comment about just incorrect about when the tanks were getting on the land. And I'm not sure if these things getting bullets through them would cause the tank to sink. I don't think. Are these to provide more buoyancy, the things around the tank, or is it just they're already buoyant? It's just this is a guard against splashes and waves getting water into the more sensitive areas of the tank that could damage it in some way. So I'm not sure shooting at them would really do much, but love you guys can answer my questions as always. And what do you think would be the most terrifying aspect of you know, how obvious, like my grandfather's brother, or my grandfather was born in the 30s. Is it his uncle? My great-grand? I think it's my grandfather's brother. It could be his uncle, but he died in on Omaha Beach, and he was one of the first to kind of, I guess, one of the first wave of people, and they sent kind of, I think, less experienced people to be the first to go in. It sounds kind of awful. I'm not positive if that's the case, but I know he died. I'm guessing they can tell from where I kind of wondered. I'm like, how do you know where they died or whatnot? Because I've been to, you know, that famous graveyard. I've been there twice. And I've gone down to the beach, and they're really awesome there. Like the French people who kind of work on the grounds there, they're really respectful, and they take care of the place really well. And like every single grave, like it's someone's job on. It's not that they have one employee per grave. Obviously, that'd be insane, but that. If you go there and you can check a registry, if like you know that your family member died in on D-Day, then when you go there, there's like this database thing you can find and then look up the person, and then a certain guide member will sort of take you over there. And she was great. I forget her name. Really cool. But I wonder, like, who would it be more terrifying to be the German or to be the Allied person? Because I think the most terrifying would be one of the first allies to enter the beach, because you're just mincemeat, like, very likely. But also, like, other than that, I think it'd be super terrifying to be a German soldier, like, in one of the bunkers or defending. And one morning you just see this enormous, largest in history naval invasion force coming across the horizon. Like, holy crap, that must have been so terrifying. But I'm sure the worst would have been, first to go onto the beach to attack. Really cool video. Might have talked a bit too much for such a short video, but I'd love to see any of your guys' comments, answers to my questions, and I hope you guys are doing well, and I'll see you next time. All right, subscribe, please, if that's your thing, or if that's your thing. If you would, this is why I don't ask. See you guys. Love y'all. Bye, guys.